What happens when we find Thrawn?
Power. Such as you've never dreamed.
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy. Okay, so we're just a few episodes into Ahsoka, and we still know close to nothing about Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. They are unlike any other dark side users we've seen before, and they're seeking Thrawn, but we don't know what they want with him or what are their goals. But we think we figured out who they are, what they want, and why they're searching for Thrawn. And their ultimate goal is to bring peace and order to the galaxy with an unimaginable power.
To kill her would be a shame. There are so few Jedi left.
So in episode 2, after Morgan Elsbeth reveals that Thrawn is in another galaxy, Shin asks Baylan what happens when they find the long-lost Grand Admiral, and Baylan answers,
For some, war.
by war, Baylan means that when Thrawn returns, he will take charge of the Imperial Remnant. Now, the third season of The Mandalorian revealed that the remaining factions of the fractured Empire are awaiting the Grand Admiral's return.
Grand Admiral Thrawn's return will herald in the re-emergence of our military.
This will inevitably lead to a war between the Imperial Remnant and the New Republic.
For others, a new beginning.
When Baylan says this, he looks up to the sky, possibly at the Purgil or into the direction of the other galaxy. So Baylan means that once Thrawn is found, the Eye of Sion will become a bridge between these galaxies, which will allow the exploration of a new galaxy.
Book me a vacation in another galaxy.
And for us?
Power. Such as you've never dreamed.
But what kind of power is Baylan talking about?
Maybe they want to go to the other galaxy.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Fine, then I'll stop contributing.
No, it's just that they only found out that Thrawn is in another galaxy after Morgan Elsbeth told them. But let's not completely dismiss this yet. The other galaxy will still be important in our theory. I also don't believe that Baylan and Shin are seeking to bring Thrawn back to restore the Empire to its former glory. So this brings us to who Baylan and Shin actually are. So let's explain that because it connects to what kind of power they'll be seeking. Baylan is revealed to be a former Jedi from before the Order fell. He even knew Anakin Skywalker.
Everyone in the Order knew Anakin Skywalker. Few would live to see what he became.
After Order 66, he disappeared. So that's another Jedi who survived the Purge, a list that seems to grow with every new Star Wars project. Anyway, Baylan made it clear that
We are no Jedi.
so he and Shin are not Jedi. They have orange lightsabers. They don't mind killing good people or working with bad people, and they use the dark side. But they don't appear to be Sith.
So if they're not Jedi and they're not Sith, or what the heck are they?
Well, for lack of a better term, they're Dark Jedi. Now, in canon, Dark Jedi are referred to as fallen Jedi who turn to the dark side, but also any dark side users who aren't Sith.
I want that back.
That's fine. Red's not my color.
But the term was never officially used in Star Wars, at least not in the new Disney canon. But the orange color of their lightsabers is a dead giveaway to their true nature. You see, lightsabers are the color they are because of the kyber crystal color inside of them. That's how we get blue, green, purple, and yellow lights.
Blue, yellow, pink. Whatever, man, just keep bringing me that.
But the Sith gain their red and crimson blades through a process called bleeding.
Oh yeah, that's how George Washington died.
Actually, Doug, that was called leeching. Bleeding is basically when they pour their evil energy into the crystal to bind it to their own dark nature.
Well, that's very fascinating, but how does any of this connect to Thrawn?
Patience, my young manager, we are getting there. They must have gained this unique color through bleeding, but the crystal did not turn fully red. This is because Baylan and Shin did not fully fall to the dark side, meaning they're not pure evil, which is supported by the way Baylan talks and carries himself.
To kill her would be a shame. There are so few Jedi left.
Baylan doesn't want to kill Ahsoka or any other Jedi. I believe that Baylan is a Thanos-type character, someone who knows he must do terrible things to bring his own balance and order to the universe. Baylan lost faith in the Jedi Code and the Council. We saw this with Jedi like Pong Krell, Barriss Offee, and most especially Ahsoka herself. Yoda and the Council failed. They allowed the Sith to trick them all and the Order was destroyed. Witnessing that must have been his Breaking Bad point and he fell to the dark side.
All it takes is a little push.
But unlike other fallen Jedi, Baylan had the discipline and the strong willpower to not allow the dark side to fully consume him. But I think that Baylan sees himself as a noble dark side user.
Oh, noble.
A new breed of Jedi Knight who can walk both in the light and the dark. Shin even rocks that Padawan braid, which was worn only by Jedi Padawans. Although, there is no real balance you can achieve. The dark side is a corrupting drug. It devours the light and the Force user.
Once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. Consume you it will.
Regardless, Baylan and Shin don't seek Thrawn to help him restore the Empire or the Sith. The power they need isn't the Grand Admiral himself, it's what and who he has aboard his Star Destroyer, the Chimera. So, just in case you don't know, Thrawn was sent to another galaxy because of Ezra Bridger. At the end of Rebels, Ezra made a force bond with the Purrgil, those are the space whales, and he sent himself, Thrawn, and the Chimera into hyperspace. The space whales took them off to another galaxy. Ezra had to make this sacrifice so his friends could liberate his homeworld, Lothal. Now, Lothal is like a hot spot for the Force. There are many strange things happening on this planet, like the Loth Wolves and the ancient Jedi Temple. Inside this temple, there is a gate to a mystical dimension called the World Between Worlds.
Oh yeah, you keep talking about that, but I'm still not sure how it works. Because I'm just a little dog with a feeble, confuddled mind.
Okay, so yeah, things are going to get a little bit confuddling, but stick with me, it will all make sense by the end. Mostly. The World Between Worlds is a pathway between all of time and space. When Ezra enters the realm, he hears characters we know echoing throughout all of time.
Master Yoda? Obi-Wan? Where are you?
Now, time is not linear inside this realm. The past, the present, and the future all happen at the same instant, sort of like the Tesseract in Interstellar. Or imagine it like a giant shelf filled with Star Wars DVDs, Blu-rays, television shows, books, comics, and you can just like pick any story out you want and go to that part of the galaxy. So inside this realm, there are gates that lead to different points in space and time. In this gate, Ezra saw the moment of Ahsoka's duel with Darth Vader, a duel that happened 2 years earlier. Ahsoka sacrificed herself so Ezra and Kanan Jarrus could escape. So Ezra pulls Ahsoka just before she dies and takes her into the World Between Worlds.
So Star Wars has time travel now?
Well, not exactly. So Dave Filoni explained that it's not time travel.
It's more about knowledge. Knowledge that you can use for your benefit of good, or knowledge that will lead to destruction.
Apparently, Ezra was just meant to save Ahsoka because that was the will of the Force or something. Ezra later sees the moment of Kanan's death in another gate, but he cannot save him because, according to Ahsoka,
Kanan gave his life so that you could live. If he's taken out of this moment, you all die.
Messing with time inside the realm could destroy the natural balance and order of things.
Perfectly not confusing.
So Palpatine almost accessed the realm with some ancient Sith magic, but after Ezra sealed the gate, the entire temple sank to the ground. However, Palpatine had Thrawn excavate parts of the temple and build them back up on his Star Destroyer, the Chimera. Palpatine even showed Ezra a vision of his dead parents, but it's unclear if this was a Sith trick or if this was another gate to the past.
You know it is possible to change fate, but you must open the door.
Ezra didn't fall for Palpatine's trick and he destroyed the remnants of the temple. But it's possible, however unlikely, that those pieces can still work and give access to the World Between Worlds. I mean, guys, it's the Force. This mystical dimension exists outside of the physical realm.
That's not how the Force works.
In fact, this might be how Thrawn is communicating with Morgan Elsbeth, like she says here.
Thrawn calls to me. Across time and space.
Morgan is a Night Sister and she uses Force magic to do many unnatural things. Now, Palpatine actually used this same magic when he was attempting to enter the World Between Worlds.
Yeah, but Thrawn isn't a Force user, so how is he communicating with her from another galaxy?
Well, it's possible that in the other galaxy, Thrawn and his forces on the Chimera were able to salvage some remains of the Lothal Temple. And now, Thrawn is using the World Between Worlds to communicate with Morgan. And he might be getting help from Ezra.
But why would Ezra help Thrawn? He is a good guy and he's a bad guy.
Well, he might have no choice. Thrawn could have captured him and now he's forcing him to help him. Or Ezra might be a willing participant, but we'll circle back to that in just a moment. I should also note that Sabine heard Ezra's voice in a dream. It can't be a coincidence. Now, the show must address the World Between Worlds. This is how Ahsoka came back. And apparently she even visited the World Between Worlds afterwards. This realm is way too important for Ahsoka's story, so there's no way they will just ignore it. And this is where the theory connects to Baylan and Shin. The reason they're helping Morgan and why they're seeking Thrawn is the World Between Worlds.
He who controls it controls the universe.
They want to access the realm and use it to achieve their own goals.
So they want to go back in time.
Well, maybe. As Dave Filoni explained, using the realm for time travel could result in chaos and destruction. Someone like Palpatine couldn't care less as long as he gets his ultimate power. But Baylan doesn't seem like that kind of guy. Instead, the power that Balin and Shin are seeking is using the realm to achieve two other goals. First, with the World Between Worlds, they can gain ultimate power through knowledge.
Knowledge is power.
Ezra hasn't been in the realm for long, and he only saw 2 moments from the past that were like important to him personally. But the world between worlds is a gateway of all of time and space. So with this realm, they can peer into any moment in time, the past and the future. And that is ultimate power because they might be unable to change the past, but they can control their present by witnessing the future.
Careful you must be when sensing the future, Anakin.
But the realm offers an even greater power. Since this realm is a gateway between space and time, in theory, a Force user could use it for instant teleportation. In fact, in Rebels, we saw the Loth Wolves using the realm for hyperspace tunneling. They sort of walked through space and time. The Wolves sent Ezra and his friends from one side of the planet to the other in seconds. It's almost like hyperspace travel, but on foot.
This is a new day, a new beginning.
There's a cost for any action you take now, Ezra.
And do you know what other Force-sensitive beings use the Force for hyperspace travel?
The space whales.
Exactly. The Purrgil travel through hyperspace, and they can even travel between galaxies. In fact, the early space travelers discovered hyperspace after following the Purrgil migration paths. And hyperspace is a dimension that bends space-time. You enter in one place and exit in another, shortening the space and time between the 2 points, sort of like the world between worlds.
So a wormhole bends space like this, so you can take a shortcut through a higher dimension.
And this could mean that when ships use hyperspace, they are accessing part of the world between worlds to travel throughout the galaxy, just like the Loth Wolves and the Purrgil.
It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us, penetrates us, binds the galaxy together.
Meaning that a Force user could use the gates inside the realm to travel to any point in the galaxy, possibly even travel to other galaxies. Every gate inside the world between worlds might lead to a different location. The gate that Ezra used on Lothal has wolf drawings symbolizing the Loth Wolves. The Malachor gate is shaped like a pyramid and has triangle symbols, just like the Sith Temple on Malachor. And the gate that Darth Sidious used had the Sith insignia. This gate could lead to the ancient Sith shrine, which is located right under the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. And this means that the other gates lead to the temple and Force hotspots throughout the galaxy, such as Dagobah, Jeddah, the Jedi Temple in Act 2 likely had their own gates. And I bet you that Cetos has a gate to the world between worlds as well.
Tell her I believe we have located the reflex point on Cetos.
But it's unclear if the Lothal Temple is the only gateway that grants access to the world between worlds, or if any of the gates can take you inside. And this is the unimaginable power that Baylan and Shin seek. So in theory, they will weaponize the world between worlds and use its knowledge as a gateway system to instantly travel throughout space without a spaceship. I mean, that's like Stargate. In fact, Star Wars has its own version of Stargates. In Legends, that's the old canon before Disney, an ancient species called the Quad built the hypergates which allowed them to instantly travel throughout the galaxy. In fact, they might be the ancient race from another galaxy that Morgan was talking about.
An ancient people from a distant galaxy.
We made a whole video explaining the ancient aliens from the other galaxy and how they connect to the Night Sisters. And if those ancient aliens are still alive, then Thrawn and Ezra will likely encounter them in the other galaxy. Now, Thrawn is a smart guy. He might even create an alliance with these beings. They could reveal their hyperspace secret to Thrawn, a knowledge that Balin and Shin want for themselves. But there's a catch. Palpatine was unable to enter the world between worlds, unlike Ezra. Now, this might be because only awesome light side users can enter this realm. Baylan and Shin might be noble dark side users, but they still use the dark side. And I doubt that they are nearly as powerful as Palpatine, and even he cannot enter this realm. So they would need a light side user to enter the realm for them, specifically Ezra. He is really attuned to the Force. He was able to make a connection to the Purrgil and the Loth Wolves, and obviously, he opened the gate between the world between worlds. Anyways, if Baylan and Shin, and maybe even Thrawn, gain control over the world between worlds, space conflict in the galaxy will change forever. Someone evil is going to use it to conquer the whole galaxy, or maybe even multiple galaxies. But Baylan and Shin want to bring peace and order to the galaxy. Well, their own version, of course, and who could stand in their way? Especially if they build a new order of dark Jedi to achieve what the Jedi never could, which ties into what Thrawn said about the Jedi in Rebels.
But for all those abilities, all the power, the Jedi lacked the vision for how to wield it.
But that's not all. Baylan might have created an alliance with Thrawn years ago, before he was even banished. The Thrawn trilogy, not that one, this one, revealed Thrawn's true goals. He's not such a bad guy. He's presented as an anti-hero who actually values all life.
Oh, I'm not so bad once you get to know me.
The only reason he joined the Empire was to form an alliance to help his people, the Chiss Ascendancy. Thrawn's main mission is to protect the Chiss from a new threat called the Grisk, who terrorize the unknown regions of the galaxy. Now, it's possible that at some point in the past, Baylan met Thrawn, and once the fallen Jedi discovered the major threat the Grisk posed to the galaxy, he made a secret alliance with the Chiss to defeat this powerful enemy. And the Grisk threat might even be the reason why Ezra chose to work with Thrawn, because that's what Jedi must do.
As a Jedi, sometimes you have to make the decision no one else can.
Unless Ezra is Merrick. Anyways, this is who we think Balin and Shin are and what they want. So what do you think? Are they Dark Jedi? Are they Grey Jedi? Does that even exist? And will we see the World Between Worlds in Ahsoka? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.